Good morning, everyone, from a sunny South Central Kentucky. Rebecca Vigas, the writer whisperer, with you for Tea at 10. And today, I really do want to discuss what it says in the title about writers' groups, writing workshops, writing retreats, writing, where you go to write or what you do to write. I had my first encounter on a website that I'd found on Facebook, and it was called Fictionista Writers Workshop. I had retired, was spending a winter in South Texas, just east of Corpus Christi, in a little town called Rockport. And I was also writing. There was a local writers group at the library. I went there a couple of times, but I ended up in this group of 3 anonymous lady writers with a moderator. And we were authors A, B, and C. I was C. We posted about 5,000 words a week. And they had to be posted by the end of the week so we could read them over the weekend, so that when we actually met in a chat group, back then we didn't do Zoom, we just did a chat group called Chatsy, and we would discuss each one. And so week 1 we did author A's stuff, and in fact, the next day we met, we did author B's. And then the next day we met, we did mine. Without the help of these 3 young ladies, the moderator and the 2 other authors, the first Macy book would have been awful. It developed more in depth. It taught me to write succinctly, but with enough information that they're not saying, wait a minute, did I miss something here? Or did she leave something out? I still sometimes don't transition as well as I'd like from scene to scene, and I'm working on that. I don't want to leave anybody left in the dark. So, yes, I still have things I have to work on. Oh, yes. It's always a work in progress. Each book gets better than the last. At least I hope it does. I hope it keeps the writers coming back. But online is one place to meet other writers. There are writers groups on LinkedIn. I don't know if they're this in depth or if they're just writers who are talking about the issues that they have. I've not delved into them. I belong to a few, but I don't spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. And so I've not delved into them as deeply as I probably should have. This one was a 4-month group, I think, or 16 weeks. Yeah, about that. And I have become friends with the other 2 writers now that we've introduced ourselves. Writer B was having twins while we were in the workshop, and she was having twin boys. And so I crocheted a baby layette for each boy, one in a pale green and one in a pale blue. and told her she could pick which one was which. But they were identical outfits, different colors. And so, when the boys were born, David and Joseph, um, they had these cute little layettes already waiting for them, hats, sweaters, and afghans. And I have stayed in touch with their mother. I'm still in touch with their mother. I think she's an outstanding woman, um, and have learned much from her. Author A was a very young writer and has not written the second book in her series, and I truly wish she would. I think she has, but it's kind of taken a back burner to life. And I think she's ready to get back to writing again. So I'm excited for her. She has moved to Florida since I first met her, and is doing well. And the bonds you make in a writing group are marvelous. I did not make any bonds or create friendships in the writing group at the library. It only met twice while I was there, and um, it wasn't enough time to meet people. You need time to meet people. So, and I currently belong to a writing group here in Pulaski County, Kentucky, and we meet the second and fourth Fridays of the month. And the group fluctuates depending on who's in town and who's out of town, but it's a good dynamic. There are probably a dozen of us, and we have a great time. And yes, I have formed some friendships, but I've been in this one over a year. Are we working on 2 years now? Something like that. So, yeah, it is good to form friendships, and I appreciate it when I do. Now, there are other places you can go besides online or your local library. And if your local library does not have a writers group, you should check and see if there are any writers in the area who would like to be in a writers group. I belong to Igniting Souls, which is writers, entrepreneurs, and um, speakers and coaches and everybody. And I have formed some wonderful friendships in that group. Some that will last a lifetime, some that will last as long as they're supposed to last, and then they will pass on. Not everybody stays in your life forever, and there's a reason for that. Once the two of you or group of you have outgrown each other, it's time to move on. Okay, so that's writers groups. Online, local library, um, they're good. It's great to have a family. And these are my writer families. I have an aspiring writers group on Facebook. Some of them are more active than others. There is no requirement. Some of them toss out writing prompts. It's cool if you do them. Please let them know. I post the tea at 10s on that group so that they are able to see what I am giving everyone else. It works out nicely. I have only blocked a couple people, and that's because they were spamming my page with offers every single day. And I asked them not to, and they turned around the next day and still spammed my page. It's like, really? I'm the writing coach here. I don't mind if you make an offer one time. but then just let it ride. Don't spam my page. I don't want to come out and find 5 posts that say do this, do that, do this. No. Not let me help you write your million seller. No. You don't get to do that. Do you get to share the fact that you've written a book? Oh, yes. And I don't take those off there. I have given suggestions about what people should do. I have an ebook. Okay. This person had an ebook based at $14.99. I said, seriously? You might as well pull it down right now. Shouldn't be more than $2.99. My question is, does it have 150 pages? If it doesn't, make it $1.99. Does it have more than 20,000 words? If it doesn't, make it 99 cents. If it has more than 150 pages, where's your paperback? Where's your hardcover? Does it have an audiobook or an MP4 download? Well, wait. Hardcover, paperback, ebook, audiobook, MP4 download. 5 different ways to make money off one book. Are you missing this? Really? Are you missing this? You need them all, folks. Even if you only run the hardcover for a limited time, you need them all. Okay, moving on. Writers' workshops. I have been to one. I have been to one, the same one, 3 times. I would like to go back to this one. It just hasn't been in the works for me lately. It will eventually. It's called the Midwest Writers Workshop. And if you live anywhere near Muncie, Indiana, or can get to Muncie, Indiana, to the university there, they hold a writer's workshop the 3rd weekend in July. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All day Thursday is an intensive with one person in the topic that you choose. And I have chosen some excellent ones. Friday and Saturday, you get to run through about, I don't know, 8 or 10 different speakers. And there are keynotes at every meal. There's a keynote Thursday at lunch. Dinners are usually on your own. There's a keynote at breakfast on Friday morning. There is a keynote for lunch. Friday night is a dinner, I believe. No, Friday night you're free. So there's not one Friday night. Saturday, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because Saturday night is the night that they're together and they give you a prompt, and I forget how many minutes to write a little story or song or poem about this writing prompt. I always manage to get the initial start, but I never get a full, like, flash fiction piece. There's a $200 prize that goes with it, and I forget what else. It's awesome. Generally, there are book giveaways throughout the weekend of writers' resource books mostly, but there used to be a bookstore in which writers could bring writers attending as speakers brought books, or writers attending as writers brought books. I never sold any there, and that's okay. They were there when I had a book. I sent in the first 5,000 words and an extra $25, and Matthew Clemens um, critiqued it for me. And we went down and looked at Secrets, which when Secrets first came out was written in Comic Sans. You can't do that. Don't do that with a novel. Comic Sans is not novel font. It's okay for poetry. It might be okay for some picture books or children's simple reading books, but don't do it for a novel. You will be laughed right out of town. Which is why Secrets is in its 3rd edition. No, 2nd edition. It's in its 2nd edition. Because now it's written in New Times Roman. Which is your standard print for a novel. There are like 3. New Times Roman, Arial, and I wanna say Garamond. Those are the 3 big ones. Don't write in anything other than that, please. So, yeah, I've learned things from workshops. I've made friendships from the people at the workshops. I went back and took a friend for a one-day writing workshop. We both took a half a day off of work. We drove down, spent the night. We went to the half-day workshop, and we drove home. It was amazing. She couldn't get over it. It was a 7-hour drive from where I lived. I can do that in a day. I spent Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night there. And we were done. Did we have breakfast on Sunday morning? No, I think we were done Saturday night. And Sunday morning, I left for home. Great workshop if you can ever attend. It's not that expensive and it's worth every penny. And an author there who was speaking and introduced himself as Steve Brewer, the most prolific author we had never heard of. He's right, I'd never heard of him. But I've got 2 of his books. He had written 27 at that time. And like, what is her name? Janet Ivanovich. He tends to write humorous mystery. He writes serious mystery too, but he writes humorous mystery. And so it's good. Check him out. Then I spent a week at a full-fledged conference. I went to the Iowa Summer Writing Festival, which starts in June and runs through mid-August. It's held at the University of Iowa. It's amazing. I was signed up for a short story workshop. And along with this short story workshop, I was going to go away with a handbook of prompts, story ideas. Oh my gosh. I'm a novelist. I had 3 novels out by that point. Short story? Really? Seriously? A short story? I can't write a short story. But I went. And they were supposed to be running a bus from my hotel to the conference that somehow never got set up. And there was another lady there worried about how she was going to get to the conference. And I said, ride with me. I have my car. And so for the next week, she rode with me and we became friends. I have not heard from her in years. She got home to find her husband very ill, and she was going to spend every minute with him that they had. And I've not heard from her since. But it was a wonderful week, and not only can I write short stories, I can write flash fiction. And I can do my biography in 210 words. Imagine that. Actually, I can do it. The idea was to write a biography in 212 words, and I did mine in 210. So, yeah. It's definitely worth it to spend the money to go for a week. Some people go the weekend before, the whole week, and the weekend after. Some go for the entire summer. Because it's different speakers every week. And there's plenty to do. Because you're pretty much on campus, and there's everything that's on campus is there. It's worth it. I think it cost me $525 for the seminar and probably about $500 to stay there. The week-long seminar was gold. Absolute gold. I got more than my $562 or whatever it was worth of education and experiences? Absolutely. Go if you can go. Are you a crime writer? There is a writer's weekend, I believe it is, called, um, what is it? Writers Police Academy or Police Academy for Writers. And you got all the police procedural you would ever want. You actually got to fire firearms. You got to do um, an in-depth investigation of a crime. Um, there's a lot. There is a lot, and that one's on my bucket list. Lee Laughlin is the founder of this. He is a police officer or was a police officer, and he writes police crime, but he writes books on police procedure. I have a book of his that I had purchased at Midwest Writers, not realizing he was going to be there even. And did not get it autographed. So, should I wander into the Writers Police Academy, I'm going to finally, I definitely want this autographed. There are writers' retreats everywhere. They're week long retreats where you go and you're immersed in writing. Um, the Writers' Retreat at Dairy Hollow in Eureka, Arkansas. You have to apply to that. You have to apply to most retreats to be accepted. Um, I would recommend that one. I know who owns it. Um, I met her at a conference. We're not best friends or anything like that, but I would recommend, having worked with her at the conference, go experience this. There is another writer, I cannot remember his name, does a week-long retreat. I'm thinking in one of the Carolinas, but everything with him is high impact. Um, Sit on the edge of your seat, take your notes quickly. Uh, his first book was written anonymously, but I have a book by him. Um, Writer's Toolkit, maybe. Um, an amazing person. Absolutely. Let me quickly get through the writing prompt because I see we're getting close to 10:30 and I really don't like to go over too much. But your writing prompt goes along with our topic for today. It says you may have already won. You may have received a believable looking business size white envelope in the mail. The return address is from a company called Peerless. Printed on the envelope in bright red letters are the words, "You may have already won." Tell the story of what it is you may have won or what it is you didn't win. And then tell me what you do with the envelope. Start with, life takes some funny twists and turns. And because this is Bonnie Neubauer, and you'll find it in underneath the video, the prompt is there. There is always the next step. You've just arrived at a 2-week writing retreat. You won. Write a note home listing all the things that you plan to accomplish in this 2 weeks. Now, do one or all of these things right from where you are now. Think about that one for a while. I'll be back on Monday. I'm still looking for questions. Anything you want to ask about writing, um, I can try and answer. Will be happy to try and answer or point you to someone who can. Please leave them in the comments so I can go back and find them and answer them. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Bye now.